And transfers, and it's all right with the rest of the board. Move down here to some new business and get some of these people out of here that may have other things to do this evening. Brian Burkhart, front and center, please.
Front and center?
Front and center.
All right. We worked on the retirement plan stuff, last time I was in here. And of course, nothing's as easy as you think it's gonna be, but, basically, we can't find the plan document. Nobody has it. I think Eleanor had it, the original one.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody can track that down because nobody knows where that would be. But, checked with our home office and our people who do retirement plans, and they said, they recommend you have a plan document. I said, you have to. They said, no, because obviously you guys have been doing it, you don't have one, so. But, to get a plan document, you have to hire a third-party administrator at least for a year and use them to do a plan document for you. And I got a quote on one of them. A lot of them wouldn't even touch it, but one of them was like $4,400 a year to run the plan, be the bad guy, and they'll do that for however long you want to. So anytime anybody wants to take a hardship withdrawal, they have to go through them. Brenda, you'd still have to sign the paperwork on it because you're still the plan administrator, but they're kind of the bad guy. What I would recommend is maybe use them for like a year or two. Costs $900 to get plan documents drawn up. And then you can drop them if you want. And if you want to have like a local CPA or something like that, do it. I talked to one of them here and they said they would do it, but they have to have a plan document. So the plan document's kind of paramount if we're going to be in compliance and all this other stuff. Now,
We don't have a plan document in the court, do we?
can't find it. I mean, anybody,
We looked,
yeah.
and,
So anyway, I mean, we've been running it for how many years without one? I mean, you can do it, and consequences, I don't know, since you're a government, probably not that big a deal, but,
Pretty severe.
yeah. Oh, have you dealt with it with the school?
Definitely.
Yeah, okay. So, our guys said definitely would recommend it. I said, you have to? They said no. But we're talking, if you keep the plan you got, you're talking, $5,300 probably first year to have it set up and done right. And if you want to continue to keep that third-party administrator online with you, you're talking about $4,400 a year. Now, there are other plans that you can set up and have all that wrapped up in it, but you'd have to discontinue this plan and start another one, which is a pain in the neck, but that fee is still in there. It's just wrapped up in there, and basically everybody's paying it.
That $4,400, is there any additional fees if there's more hardship cases, if they have to do a lot of work?
There's certain processing fees, and I think that was figured in on average, it could cost more, it could cost less, so, but that's just kind of.
It's not like a retainer, more for additional work.
Yeah, it's got additional work, and I can leave you guys a quote too that I got, and I can email or whatever, but you guys can look through it and see, but that's a place out of Crawfordsville, and they do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of stuff with American Funds too, so they can coordinate all this stuff, but it's gonna cost you. But I think, at least for the first year, I would want a plan document, I mean, just in case.
First step you could have is plan document.
You gotta have that first.
So that's
And the
what they're
only,
gonna do.
Yeah. And the only person I found that'll set up a plan document was like these guys, like the local CPAs and stuff won't. You have to have a third-party administrator that deals with that, set it up, set the thing up right, like it should have.
American funds don't have a boilerplate plan document.
They do, but you have to shut this plan down on a 457, they're weird, it's not like a 403B or something. You have to shut this plan down, start over. Yeah, it's a pain in the neck, but you can do it. And they'll have one like that, just like probably your 403B was and everything else, where all those fees are built up in there. But the plan you got is good if we just had a plan document. We have to have one worked up to really make it legal. So kind of in a pickle on that. That's why it was a little harder than what I thought it was gonna be.
I mean, the third-party administrator basically is to keep Brenda and her office from catching on
Right.
the rub with people want to withdraw money.
Yeah, you don't have to have a third-party administrator for this type of thing.
It's a tough matter.
But it's a good idea.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to have HR, but it's a good idea, right? It's the same thing, kind of keeps you out of trouble.
Safety net.
Exactly. But, it costs you. And, say I talked to a local CPA that would do it, but they won't do it without a plan document. And they don't draw up plan documents, so you'd have to get it set up at least with these guys for the first year. You know, you may just continue to do it with them if you want. And I haven't got the price on what it costs for the CPA, but I'm assuming it'd be cheaper. But, you know, assume that's to you too. So, but first of all, we gotta get that plan document if you guys wanna be in compliance, and that's what I'd recommend.
But then I hear you say that if we have a plan document, we're gonna start all over again?
No, if you keep the same plan, what they do is, I'll give you guys the paperwork
You
that
start over.
you can start over, but that's if you start a whole new plan. And that's one of those boilerplate ones where they just, you know, turnkey, they call it, it's just done, the plan document's drawn up. All those fees are kinda in there, it just means that everybody who has money in it is paying that fee, they just don't know it. You know, so, it just means they don't make as much money.
This 157B, it's exclusively for government employees.
Right.
It's a good plan.
It's a good thing. It's just, it's different than 403Bs. I mean, you can have a 403B, but the advantage of this one is at age 55, you can get your money out with that 10% penalty. 403Bs, you got 50, 59 and a half, and there's a lot of, you know, like especially police and fire and stuff like that. They retire earlier. That's why they set these up so they can get it out at 55. You know, so.
So we need to encourage the commissioners to get plan documents. That's $30.
Yeah, that's my recommendation, but like I said, you guys have been going, you know, it's like driving
I think it's
80.
precarious.
Yeah, I mean, it's like driving too fast, you know, it's, eventually it's gonna bite you. But, who wants that? Larry, you wanna do it?
I've got one.
Oh, you got one? Here's
I'll give it to them.
all right. And if you guys can, if somebody can drum up that plan document, no problem. Then we can get, you can continue to do it the same way.
HR and there probably someplace out there you can get us boilerplate 457 plan document.
I don't know, you'd have to, yeah, I mean, you'd probably have to contact another attorney and probably buy one, or, you know, get one to work off of.
Because they're pretty, I would, maybe even out there on the web. Usually they're pick and choose. You
If
sit
you
down,
could
go
find
through
something
about
like
50
that, then we
questions.
could get somebody local to administer, it'd be a lot easier. Or, like if you guys just went the cheap way, you know, if you find the plan document, perfect, but this is kinda what I printed up, I actually had American Fund send me, under unforeseeable emergencies, you guys can have two of these if you want, pass them around. Right there.
Not really.
Yeah, but you could always hand that out to everybody, first paycheck of the year.
I think if we don't have a plan document, we're in a precarious position.
But now, like for the first of the year when we start our higher level 457,
We put that in quarterly, right?
is it quarterly?
I mean, well,
Starts first of the year.
Oh, we put it in quarterly, that way we
that's what you guys decided,
what we
that's why I wrote
instructed
it
them
down,
to do.
but I didn't know for sure.
So,
So we go in the end of March, end of April, or end of June, and
Right,
September, and December.
yeah.
what can we do to help people look at this more as a retirement account than a bonus? I mean, that's the problem here now, and everybody loses just as soon as they draw the money out. You know, we just need to,
Yeah, I mean, if you could, you know, that's kind of what that third-party administrator
Right.
does. Then they could say, hey, this is not an emergency, and tell Brenda, so she could call them and say, hey, what about this, what about this? They keep her in compliance. Otherwise, I mean, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, it's right there, it tells you, you know, what the emergency is. And somebody's gonna be the bad guy, you know, so do you wanna hire a third party?
They
Or-
make the call
Yeah.
and don't have to come,
Right.
they catch the
They're
slack.
gonna say, this is the way it's always been, they're gonna say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, it was done, you know, this is how it's supposed to be done. Or
Or if you got a
could
plan document, you can fall back on
Right. If without the plan document, I mean, you got that, but it's not really, you really need a plan document. Then if we could, if anybody can scrounge that up, or,
I remember when we first got it, that there was guidelines that we went by.
yeah. Yeah, it's probably somewhere, but I, you know, who knows?
Gotta be
It would be a
Somewhere.
copy in
Jim,
my,
did that start when you was on commissioner?
I'm
I'll
gonna
look
start.
Did
again.
you
I
have a
forgot
plan
about that. I'll
document
look
that you
again.
could
We
read?
had it from,
I'll go back up there, I gotta fix something on payroll, so I'll go back.
I hate
We
saying
already
that,
went
but we
through
did.
that, we can't come up with.
But it wasn't,
our-
it wasn't through the church bonds.
Huh?
It wasn't through the church bonds, I mean, we went into American
Yeah.
Funds.
And the American Fund's really good. It's just, they don't keep the plan
She
document.
looked under Alan.
It's usually the broker.
I think there's one up there.
And sometimes they'll give a copy.
What year,
Yeah.
Jim, what year was you commissioner? That,
98 to 2002, I think we started in 99, I think, 99 or.
so go back into the minutes and try to find something back in the 98 to 2000.
I didn't look under Alan on this.
Huh?
I didn't look under Alan on.
See if we can come up with that to help this.
It should be in the minutes and be attached to it.
Yeah,
Well, if it's in
Okay.
there, that's you.
and you would have had to sign that,
Yes.
and the auditor always, is supposed to always keep a copy of anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But nobody
Yeah,
wants
there
to
was
administer
minutes
it
for it.
without that document, because they're gonna be in trouble.
The only time I'm glad to see you, Jim, is for this.
Thanks a lot, Dwayne. I'm gonna say happy Thanksgiving to you.
That's the agreement that this.
Thank you. I think we can sign
it all.
All right.
You probably get that for our next meeting?
Let me know if you find it, though.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
So do you guys want to make a recommendation, pass this on to the commissioners, or you want to wait and see if she finds it?
Well, I think we wait and see.
back here.
That's fine.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
If it's in the minutes, it should be up there, should we win any big money?
And no.
At least you know where to
No, I
look.
won it.
Yeah, Alan.
Okay.
Or under Jimmy Burton,
She lost one dollar.
There
maybe.
you
She said
go.
where the fun is, it maybe under Jimmy Burton, I don't know.
Holly Moody,
I just need a transfer of funds from the, into my extra hire. When we talked about our, during budget talks, we knew that we were gonna fall short because we had a lot of turnover, and we've had to have part-timers to make up the slack.
You ever read before that?
did you ever pay for it on that?
No, I don't see it.
I did not submit a written request, they just told me I need to be here.
So what do you want to transfer?
I'd like to transfer $8,500 from my regular into, extra hire,
Where's the $85 coming from?
through my, my 911 funding.
What fund, where's it at? Where's it appropriated at? Is this cash? We use it up, or is this an appropriation?
12222. I'm sorry, it's Fund 12222.
Yeah, but it's just cash.
She has appropriations.
In what line?
Help me out, Laura.
Well, this is all I ran off that she was behind, she's negative that amount.
Yeah.
And where she's gonna take it from, I don't know.
It's the statewide 9/11 fund.
You can't transfer unless it's already appropriated,
It's
that's
the
what
same
I'm trying to ask. Is it appropriated or is it cash?
It's appropriated.
In what line item?
That's all I ran off.
Statewide 9/11.
Well, her extra hire is 11,900, and you're wanting to take it from,
That's what we're needing to know.
That's what we need to
See,
know.
that's the problem, I think you want an additional appropriation rather than a transfer.
Well, when we had discussed it at budget time, nobody said that I needed to do that when we
Do
talked
we have a
about.
copy of her budget down here?
I have my budget location, but I don't
You
have
have
the
one in your
actual.
hand?
Yeah.
So where do you think the money's at in the appropriation?
none, there is none.
So this is an additional appropriation.
Because her dispatchers and this is all
So
probably
that'll have to
gonna
be
go out.
advertised for next month's meeting.
Okay.
Sorry, can't do it.
That's okay. I will just make sure that I have something in writing and submit it to the auditor's office.
She has to have a
next
legal
month.
ad to pay for it.
I'll put it in the ad paper and it'll be at the next meeting, they'll approve it.
Okay,
Meeting
so-
will be on the 30th, and have to get it advertised.
Maybe she'll be all right.
Yeah, I can send it in that next day, because I email it all in, so they'll
And
have it
this
before
is
the
in the
end of the year.
911 fund, right?
Yes.
So it won't be a big deal. It's just a matter of whether there's enough.
So
money.
in the meantime, the people that I have covering
She
shifts
has a
then,
CD.
so in the meantime, the people I have covering shifts then, cannot work the month of December then, until we can,
They'll be all right.
You've got the money, we just need to get
Have
it
additional appropriations.
You'll
legally.
just be in the red until this gets done.
We'll approve it on the last meeting of the month, a year, and go from there.
Rick may, I don't know about the rest of
Red
it.
tape.
Yeah, it's not, a transfer has to be from appropriation you've got to another appropriation. You don't have an appropriation, so it has to be an addition.
I'll get it, we'll get it in. All right, I'll do it correctly then in December. Thank you.
Okay, Tom Leahy, front and center.
You got deputy guns?
We are here, I am here on behalf of the Park and Lake Board to ask for an additional appropriation. We decided about 2 months ago to improve a major part of our infrastructure, all the computers, the networking capabilities of most of the computers, and a software program. The computers we had were 5 to 7 years old. The server we currently use is 13 years old. We're having more problems with it than we care to have somebody deal with them. And the software that we currently use to manage, we would like to replace with a more up-to-date software program. So we priced all this and come up with a two-phase plan. Number one was to improve connectivity, which we have done. We managed to find, we managed to transfer money. It may not have hit your office yet, but I think to take care of improving the connectivity between the gatehouse and the office. The office has our server. The gatehouse is where they conduct most of the transactions at the gatehouse. So we put a fiber optic line in there, and we're going to end up having to pay about $5,500 for somebody to connect those so that we have now high-speed fiber optic capabilities. The next step is to purchase all new computers. We have some computers that are 3 or 4 or 5 years old. We have some that are as old as 7. And rather than replacing those at different stages, because we want to go with a more efficient software program, we felt it was best to replace all the computers at the same time. You have to buy the software before you go find a computer to spec it out to suit to drive your software. We think we found that software, and we're going to integrate it with a more up-to-date book for our records, for our books. And the total cost of that, and what we did is we went out and got 3 quotes. On replacing the 6 computers, the server, some battery backup things, online backup service, and monthly server maintenance, which includes somebody coming out here once a month and updating the server software. All 3 quotes were within $600-800. Typically, when you're trying to quote 6 computers and you go to 6 different people who are selling computers because they're all selling different products and they all have, so be that as it may, they all came real close. But we have chosen a vendor for this, and the total package initially was running about between $30,000 and $35,000. That's replacing all the computers, the connectivity between the gatehouse and the office, new server. We're going to integrate this new software program, which we found in a company in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to integrate point of sale, which will utilize the scanners in the gatehouse, hopefully make things run a little bit more efficiently. Maybe some touch screen, computer screens, so we can get those people in and out of the gate a whole lot quicker. However, we did manage to find about $5,000–6,000 to transfer over from this year's budget. So my original request was going to be for that $30,000. We do have a park special. I believe it's in a park special account. We currently have a $35,000 CD that we are asking, requesting permission to go ahead and cash in. The appropriation is going to be that we're asking for today is $30,000. We don't think we're gonna spend that because of the money we found in this year's budget. And I don't know how that's gonna work, if we cash in this CD and then spend part of it and then we turn it back, what we'd like to do is give back that extra $8,000 to $10,000 and put it back in the CD.
Tom, you guys have money appropriated in your, park special account.
What's that?
You've got money still appropriated in your park special account, only to cover
From,
in this year's budget.
to cover 30?
Well, huh?
They
I don't have- I don't have my
usually
budget
always
with me.
appropriate 100,000, I don't think you use too much of it.
What the fund we're talking about? But this is just a cash, this is not an appropriation, this is cash.
Right. I think that according to the totals we got, this was good till.
Well, when we're talking budget time, you had this kind of money, is the reason I asked you that.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it shows that balance is 171,800 something.
But you've got appropriations, I think.
Yeah, you always appropriate 100 grand.
So
in that
where's
budget.
the appropriation?
Don't you appropriate 100,000 in your special?
You appropriated
I don't know if it was that.
last year.
See, it was one of those, we submit 2 budgets, and those additional ones, I typically don't see. We hash out the other one, we don't see the second one. So to tell you what those amounts were, I don't know.
Is it just a one-line?
Do you know, Jim?
Sure.
I don't,
I think Rick's right, I think it was 100,000, but I don't know what we still have left in it.
You had, at the budget time, you don't spend about 15,000.
Yeah, but we bring that up when we was meeting about
So I think we're just spinning the wheel, I think you got the money
that. I agree
appropriated.
with you.
You tasking my memory now, but I remember talking about this a bunch of times.
I remember vaguely the second budget.
So if we had,
Those,
you
but I don't
you have an
remember the totals.
appropriations report going to be?
I can get one here.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
I'm pretty sure
I'm
you
gonna
have.
connect.
Okay, if that money was appropriated then for this year,
It's still there.
until when? I mean, how soon we need to jump on this?
Well, if you get a bill, you can come to it, but
Park reverting's got, non-reverting's got 177,
Yeah,
71.
see, I don't have that information. How much?
170,771.
Ain't that the special fund?
No.
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one we was talking about, I think.
Yeah, that's where the money's at.
But,
Park non-reverting,
Yeah,
year to date.
that's cash.
that's cash. We're showing about 173 with October's receipts.
I don't see the,
You're gonna break 900 at the gate,
What's that?
you're gonna break 900,000 at the gate.
I think our revenue, 5 months ago was dangerous. We were down a little over $60,000 at the end of the season.
1179, right?
I think we were just under, what was the final total, about 11?
Yeah.
10, 11.
16
or so.
So,
Not like 9.
I doubt it.
so how much has she got appropriated?
Let's see. Appropriation budget showing, the original appropriation for miscellaneous supplies was 75,000, and I show 56,318.24 left in that appropriation. Special events for Park Special, the appropriation was 25,000, and you had $10,574.08 left in it.
They're the same fund, aren't they?
Yes,
So
that's
they actually got,
100,000.
they got $66,000 left, right?
In which ones?
66,892, Park Special.
Park special.
And that could be used for capital improvements. Okay. Now, you
Got money
mentioned a
to
couple
spend
of them.
yet.
Well, there's two
That's your
different
line
categories in that
items.
fund.
Right, right.
That's your
I think-
line items.
Yeah, we're not counting on that. We're,
Where you gonna buy it from?
the computers
Yeah.
from the Park Special.
That's what
That's
I'm
it.
talking about.
That's what she told me.
Your line item in your Park Special for miscellaneous supplies.
Well, does it fall within this miscellaneous supplies is my question.
Miscellaneous.
If
It's
it
my
does-
understanding
if
Park
it
Special
doesn't-
is for capital
If it doesn't, we
improvement.
can transfer it to equipment.
If you want to do a transfer, we can make an equipment line of 4,100, or 41,000.
You just want
Yeah,
to
we keep
transfer
it.
$30,000
Well,
to
I mean, I can keep it.
miscellaneous to
I
equipment.
might want that back.
We have to go through all this.
You can call that equipment, that'd be fine.
Is it good?
Yeah, okay, do we need to ask for that transfer and have you approve it?
Do it today.
Okay.
It's a transfer.
I'll make a motion.
I second. Second.
Jim seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Will you try to test my memory?
Sounds like you did.
Perhaps, you're testing on it now.
Miscellaneous
You don't remember the discussion?
to equipment.
Tom, I gotta ask you something. Is this a no shave November?
Yes, sir.
Just checking.
Them guys on the morning show on Channel 2.
Well, me and Vicky was talking about that today, and I've never heard about that before until today.
You had that for a few years, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay. So do you need us to submit a written request or is it done?
Makes you go down.
It's, you
Good
just
then.
submitted a verbal request for a transfer, right? Just like Holly just did.
Yeah, I thought she didn't have a transfer.
Or an eventual appropriation.
Okay, thank you. That's all we needed.
Take Jim and go.
I guess he wants me out of here.
But you have no value to us now, so.
I don't know. Hey, I will say, I did bring that up. I just want to tell Steve, I said, I think I asked that question out there about taking out special.
Oh, you did not.
Oh,
Get out of
come
here.
on.
I did.
Get out of here.
Get out.
I've served enough with you, Dwayne. I didn't ask you guys, I asked our department.
That'll never happen.
Okay, Kyle.
I know you did. Hey.
Talk to us.
You guys want me here?
Well, you said you wanted the retirement plan. Have you got enough money in your grant to cover it?
I will, yeah, I do.
You're sure?
I'm positive.
Huh?
I'm positive.
That's where it'll have to come from, the grant.
Exactly.
2,400 a year.
We was just under the impression that we was getting it, okay, we wasn't,
If
so.
you've got the grant money, you can have it as far
Yeah,
as
we got plenty.
And it's gonna take the committee
Advisory
to
to approve that.
revise that.
And
I
Ann's
mean,
part of the
you've got
committee,
so much
aren't you?
set for salary, but I don't think you have a line item for this.
We don't have, yeah, we have a series.
Before March, but Laura has to pay
That's
it.
my question. See, I didn't give it to him last year,
Right, well,
so do I pay
it's
him
too bad,
back?
I mean, I don't think that we can do it retroactively, but we can correct it.
Now, if I had the grant money, could we? I mean, we have the money. Could we go back or not?
That's up to your, that's up to those people there.
Advisory board.
Has to be up to your advisory board.
What it is in that series, we have a series, and we can move money however we want in that series. So we can move series to series, as long as the Department of Corrections, I do a transfer or like
And your
appropriation.
committee, your
request.
locally has to approve it.
Right. How much is it
Go along with it.
annually? I mean, did you just
1,200
tell me?
this year, what was it this year? Seven
We
fifty?
went to 1,200 this year, last year it was 700. So we upped it to 750.
750.
750 last year. And then this year we took it up to
Seven fifty
$100
this
a
year,
month.
750 this year, and 1,200
Well, the year we're on now, yeah. But the 2014 year will be $100 a month, $1,200, what we went to.
So you're gonna pay that money out of Community Corrections grant over to Laura, and Laura's going to put it into the retirement account?
I just make an account number for him, and I just take out that account of his grant,
And
of
then-
his fund and location.
And then the new
Yeah.
budget's due in the December and all this budget that in
We
there.
just create a line item.
right, within his budget.
Right.
Well,
For
his
for our
budget,
conversation, it's retirement.
because we don't
not
appropriate his
vacation.
money.
Right.
But he does have line items.
Okay.
Because, and also the next question is,
Don't you
the
share-
new employee, Jackie
You
Mize,
addressed that earlier.
or is it Jackie or Jacqueline?
Preston's been drawn down.
I know it's.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's
Well,
what I've
oh, I
heard
see
her
what you're
name
saying.
before.
They're taking it out of there. Yeah, no.
Okay, so the question is also, does the new employees get dental, medical, and life out of his grant?
Well, it has to be funded from the grant, and
Okay.
we, wouldn't make hard of you didn't have enough money to do it. I remember, we went to the meeting, remember Larry? So, you know, it's all, if the county picks up nothing, basically, it has to be from the grant, so I don't know how much the grant is.
We get, I mean, right now, I'm gonna shut
HR.
we have roughly $40,000 right now that we're not using for personnel. It's out of our project income. We budget that in, and that's users' fees basically that we budgeted in. We're not using that. Last year we sent about 17,000 back to DOC out of the grant money that we could have used towards personnel. So the money's there for all that.
Well, again, that's what comes back to your committee.
Exactly.
Because they're gonna have to revise your budget, and whatever's in your budget will be approved by the council. But it wasn't there.
If they make the recommendation to us to do this.
To do the retirement and all that on there.
If you could get it to us by December, we could start that.
I gotta have it done the 31st. It won't take, it's almost done now.
But see, Laura kind of left it worse, because she didn't have
Right.
any authority for it.
Okay.
What is the cost for the insurance? Do you know that, Kyle?
It's expensive. I don't take it. I've never had anybody take it.
It's about $12,000.
And that's how we was paying our extra hires out.
Okay, I knew that, I thought that's what it was.
Because nobody was using the insurance.
But
Now,
just
the
a
new
little bit,
employees
so
want to utilize it, and I'm thinking roughly 20,000 what her portion would be.
19 or 17?
Was she not
I
covered
think
through
it
her
was
husband?
posted 20,000.
Well, that's what I'm
That's what I was thinking.
asking.
Why is she not
See,
covered through Jerry?
That way, you know, Jerry could pick her up, because he's grandfathered in, that's her husband, he's a deputy out of the sheriff department. Jerry Mize,
I mean, they should take the
Jackie's
family.
husband,
I got him looking at it.
and see, that's,
I mean, if you're a state
That-
employee, you
that's
can't be
just
double
law.
insured.
I don't know whether they can
Sure, it
hire
can
her or
be.
not.
They won't let me.
Jerry's not a supervisor.
Because my
Huh?
husband works
Jerry's
for the
not a
state and I work for the
supervisor.
state. We both
Yeah,
can't
but
be
these
double
aren't state
insured.
jobs.
this is county, so.
And
Jerry
you-
Meyer works for the county, right?
Right.
That's just a state policy.
But why would they want to pay for two
Well,
plans?
it's kind of like, Jimmy and Robin, they both work for the county, so they put them on family plans.
Yeah.
And like Carol and him, Hannah and Guy Hannon, they put them together on a family plan.
John and Larry Walker, same thing?
Yes.
They do the
So they could go on a
See,
family
yeah.
plan and community corrections could pay the difference between the family and the single.
I don't, are you talking about Mize, the policeman?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do they have kids?
They adopted one child.
Do they have kids under age of?
Well, she's wanting to cover somebody on dental in the autumn,
That's their adopted child.
okay. Because she's wanting the life, the dental, and the medical, so I'm just putting down that she can get it right, as long as the board.
But the dental is nothing to us. That's a plan you buy yourself, right?
Right,
And that comes out of the check.
Right, but,
that's 9 something.
But life is
$9.99
something
pay.
that you guys provide.
yeah,
That has to be provided, this group has to be out of the drain.
So I buy it.
So you think because she's working for you and you're a state job, she can be hired by you? Even though her husband works for the county?
The county. Wow. And then nepotism, then that's the direct supervisor, if they're related to the direct supervisor?
Yeah, she can work for him.
She can work
Uh,
for me.
she can work.
This can't be a direct super, you
He
can't,
doesn't-
I couldn't hire my wife or
There's no direct supervision.
there's no direct supervision by Jerry.
I mean, no different, some Vicky's kid, they could work for Brenda. Or vice versa.
Can't work the same department for them.
Your supervisor can't be your.
Your relation.
Because they took the least.
So they have a dependent child that they need to cover, is that what you're trying to say?
just in dental, it was just dental. So,
That's not a big deal, but.
no, dental's not a big
I
deal.
mean, I can understand why anybody would take two family plan, or take a family plan if you got no children. It'd be cheaper to do the two individual plans.
Right. I'd say she wants some medical, so we can just pick her up on family medical, Jerry, her husband. It'll come out of his check,
Pardon me?
like Jackie Mize, she's wanting to sign up for medical, but Jerry Mize works out at the deputy. So we just put them as a family instead of, because he has insurance too through the county. He just needs to sign paper, he wants to pick up his wife on the insurance.
My question is, it's a lot cheaper to have two singles than it is to have a family. Should be.
I don't think it is, because that's why we have like Jimmy
That's why they put me
and,
and George together.
yeah, Fred and George,
You save,
but I don't know.
5,000.
That would surprise me.
I don't know what to do.
12 and 12, it's 12 for a single. 19 about for family.
For the family plan.
So we just need to get the board to approve either paying the difference between the family and the single or paying her single.
Well, they need to pay
Things
it.
don't do them with the dollars you got. And I don't think that you'll be able to get them on till renewal time.
Unless it's a qualified advance, but they always
Well,
told me.
qualifying bid happened.
Right,
No qualifying bid happened.
right.
So I think
So
it
you're
can
right.
happen till March the first,
Till
or even
March.
first.
Renewals like every other years, but that's coming up since, because it's
I know.
even years, so,
So do they have to have an individual plan to land and then go on the family?
yeah, I guess.
March, isn't it? I'm making-
I don't know, it's April first when it takes effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a 30-day.
yeah, that's why he's saying March, he's saying April.
You got all your homework now, Kyle?
Right. I think so. So once the advisory board approves the retirement, you're going back, then bring it to you guys for your approval. And
You can be retroactive.
then retroactive, and then.
You gotta
but-
sign
and
with
then the-
Edward Jones.
Then the budget for next year will
You ought to have
reflect
it
that in
for
the.
next year, and it will not get it again.
I think the budget we have shows, perf on there. It doesn't have perf. Just put it in that line,
Okay.
All right.
What we can do for you.
All right. Now we'll just for Gee Whiz, there's an annual report submitted to DOC that shows the tax savings, community corrections have for versus incarceration. I highlighted in yellow there what each component saves.
I think it's an ongoing grant, is that an ongoing grant?
It's every 2 years. We just got approved. It's through 2015 year, and in 2016 we'll submit another one. So, and just more and more money's coming to it too with the new laws.
Doesn't look like you get shut off.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Too.
We won't see you before Christmas, so Merry Christmas too.
I hope I don't see you.
How they drive them, I don't know, I suppose they set them according to what the state allows or something.
What's that?
Their salaries.
It's in our ordinance.
Huh?
It's in our ordinance.
They said it.
The committee says it. It's in our ordinance.
I hate that.
Okay,
And I don't believe they give them a raise.
Vicki, front and center. First of all, do we not do any work on the mineral books during the year? How do they get so far behind?
I don't know. Doesn't come from my office.
Huh?
Doesn't come from my office. It's just something that I'm concerned about.
Where's it come from?
Well, it starts probably in the auditor's office. Doesn't it start with you guys in minerals? And I don't know, it's just been reported to me that they are out of order big time and we're losing money. And so I went to the commissioners and they were definitely for it. And so I wanted you guys to know what was going on too, to see if you would be for it or not. I've been told several times that we're losing money, and so I just decided to write it out and
So you're thinking that, there are minerals that are not being sent to tax bill? Is that right?
yes.
I mean, without divulging, who told you, how do you know that's the case?
Because the woman that does it, for people around town, she's seen it happen too many times. She probably wouldn't even care for me saying her name.
No, I'm not asking.
You know, but she's just seen it too many times. She and I have talked about it several different times. She said, you guys are, and I said, well, when you get one, let me know, so I can see if we get any information off of
I
it.
mean,
Well,
does every real property have a mineral property with it, owned by somebody?
should have.
Say that again, Rick, I didn't understand what you.
Well, like if I own 20 acres, I either own the 20 acres and the mineral rights, or if someone else owns the mineral rights.
Yeah, and if you own the top, that's in one book, but if you don't own the top, whoever
in
owns
the-
your bottom's in another book. In
Someone
a
owns it.
designated mineral book,
But someone owns it,
Well, HR's been researching, I know too.
somebody.
somebody.
And I can testify that they, you know, well, the county just about, it's only by a technicality that the county participated in those lease revenue, or some of those royalty revenues
Right.
up at Sunrise. Technically, you know, if those books maybe had been a little bit better order, maybe had been caught by our county attorneys, but they really kind of lapsed as it was. That there's a loophole in the law that allowed us to kind of slide in there and collect those monies, but, you know, it does come up every once in a while, I will say that. I find a lot of mistakes. It's no really fault of anybody's, it just happens. I mean,
Now, if you find it a problem, how, can you do like real property, can you go back 3 to 5 years and collect those taxes?
Well,
3,
yeah,
I'd say you could go back the current and 2 other years, you know, on anything. I mean, as far as I know, you can.
Yeah.
We can in our office.
I remember that meeting, me and you were here when they discussed that.
How would you know how far, I mean, I know you got these books, but how
Well,
would
when
you
the
make a
transfers
record?
were made, you know if they held the mineral rights or not. I mean, I can sell you property, but I retain the mineral rights, it'd be the same time.
But how, I mean, when we go through those books, how do we know if the mineral rights are being taxed?
well, I mean, if it's, yeah, I mean. if
I mean,
it's-
I own the mineral rights, I get the bill every year from Vicky,
Yeah.
and pay the taxes, and
Has the treasurer got a separate book?
I mean, they
for
get
mineral rights?
a lot of these, you know, we get a lot of these statements back because they're undeliverable, and then they go on a tax sale list, and then they're sold,
Even
but
on the
some of
mineral
them, yeah, what's that?
even on the mineral rights you do.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Because, I mean, a lot of these were held by railroads and different things, who've changed hands a million times since the 70s, and, you know, every once in a while, it just gets sent back to you. It's changed so many times, they don't know who to send it to, or they haven't given it their forwarding address, or whatever company's holding it. So,
The lady that owned mine died,
you know,
or not died, but she quit paying the taxes on it, and then it came to me and Randy got up and
Sure.
Boston, bought Boston.
Well, this sort of came to a head. I'm not exactly sure how this was, but some way the mineral rights, I think, were sold at an auction. Did you hear that? Some way some mineral rights, but fortunately before it became final and was taken upstairs, Jess and I talked about it, and she was told to call upstairs and stop that before it came through, because somebody had called her, well, it was a lawyer, I think, because she said, the only thing I know what to tell you to get a lawyer. He was a lawyer. And she said, I don't know. I mean, you know, they got sold. And they said, you can't sell them, you don't, nobody owned them, we owned them, you know. And well, if our books aren't right, if there's, you know, mistakes in it, then that's gonna happen again. We got lucky on this one so that we didn't get in trouble with it, but.
Well, and two, I think, I've always wondered, the question has always been outstanding for me, is, you know, some of them, I mean, you almost gotta go back to the original deed, and it puts a burden on the auditor's office, I'll give you that. Because you gotta look at the specific wording of the attorney. However, if there's a reservation in a deed as to mineral rights, you know, the grantor expressly reserves the coal, or the grantor expressly reserves the coal, oil, and gas. I think the county assesses different, whether based on that reservation. There's a assessment based on reserving everything, and then there's an assessment if you reserve coal or if you do oil and gas. I think, used to be, I don't know if they've changed that or not. Is that the way?
We have a mineral book, but we have to get it from the transfers. We don't see the deeds or anything, we
No.
just get it from the transfers.
Maybe it used to be half price, or basically half the assessment if you just did oil and gas. Or likewise, if you did coal and didn't do oil and gas. But if you do all of it, the whole umbrella of minerals, it's a higher assessment. So I've always thought that over the years, there's probably a lot of lost money, perhaps, and improper assessment for not catching in those deeds how it was to be, which, and there's a science to that. I mean, it's tedious work, and there's no doubt in my mind that the county's probably losing out to a certain extent on it. But the undertaking to, clean it up would be
How
monumental.
many thousands of dollars we're gonna have to spend to get them up to date?
I don't even know
try
who
to
you would get to,
correct.
who you would get to take on something like that.
We
I
don't
mean,
have a
it's so-
ballpark figure of what we're even gonna gain.
Gosh, you could get someone smart that was incarcerated and get them to work on
I
it.
mean, no doubt, the abstract people in this county would like for them all to be updated at our expense, make it easier for them to do their work.
I just don't know. I mean, it's a lot to that. A lot to
Well, I
that.
figure there has to be.
A lot
I know
to
how
that.
long it took to get all my stuff back on
Those,
some of my
and those,
property.
those effectively begin in 1903. Now technically, I mean, I don't know that you would have to go back to the beginning, but, it's,
I mean, it sounds great, but I don't know where you start.
I don't either. I don't know.
You think you need to almost find a forensic abstractor.
Yeah, I don't know where you begin on that.
Well, Jim, you're supposed to be doing all this.
No, he's not.
I think maybe a beginning point that I don't know who you would get to do this is to maybe just to go through in the most current mineral book to see, is this a reservation of oil and gas, or is this a reservation of coal, or is this a reservation of all, and see what the county's, whether it's that assessment for that particular one is proper, make sure that's right, to maybe see if we're missing
I
out
thought you
there.
did like a 5% audit or a 10% audit where you just picked them at random just to see.
I mean, you could pick your wealthier township in terms of
See if
minerals.
they're in compliance.
Your Cass and your Jefferson are going to be by far your two townships where you make the most off minerals. I mean, Gill Township and Haddon, well, I guess Haddon now, but Fairbanks and Gill are probably your least. Maybe Jackson now. Jackson.
We cherry pick some of the good ones to see
Yeah.
if they're in compliance.
But you got three that are your way at heads and tails above everybody else.
No, I don't think so. What do you think of London's gas?
I mean, it's one of those deals that for each particular, it might not be a lot for that particular one, but you add it up comprehensively, and it is. I mean,
Could be.
could be.
I mean, in Cass and Jefferson, you're gonna, but Peabody's gonna probably have the whole, I think they do, to almost all of it, right?
Mhm.
Because they went out and researched and bought these railroad rights out.
Yeah. Well, it just, mistakes happen on that. I mean, and they don't catch them. I mean, I caught them once. I got some of these minerals back in Cass Township one time because Peabody didn't see to it that it got on the auditor's books. And 20 years elapsed and I got them back for them. And they didn't want to lose them. But they lost them.
Because the person on the top got it back.
But, too many years had lapsed and Peabody just didn't catch
Is
it.
that the one you told me about?
Mhm.
It lapsed because of no activity.
There's a 20-year lapse of mineral statute, and and they do have an argument. They can say that, oh, we didn't get this, this was a if you have so many, you can argue that it's just an oversight. But they didn't even try to make that argument. I think they knew that they blew it. But anyway, I digress.
The neighbor tried to say me too.
I mean, I think I need to know more about what we can do. I mean, it's great to say, yeah, we'll address it, right?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know who you would get. Has there been any mention of that, Vicki? I mean, who would undertake something to?
Yeah, there's somebody that's thinking about maybe taking it on, if it was okay.
They might have to
Somebody got
maybe
some results, so it's simply worth doing.
submit a proposal or something like what they want to do and how much would be charged. I don't know.
I haven't talked to the person since,
We'd have to see a price, and what they're gonna produce. That'd be some kind of a sampling of what we're gonna do. Like I said, but
Show me something, see if we got some results.
Well,
could we get somebody to take it in on a percentage of the collections?
I don't know. I don't know. I just.
Edie, what have you been doing?
I don't know.
About that too, there's a good job for us.
I'm sitting back here thinking.
well, what do you wanna do here, fellas? I mean, we don't know if it's enough to cover that plus some, or even enough to cover half the salary, just to get it updated to make it more convenient for.
If you could take a sampling, you know, if you could do a short sampling, like you was talking
If we had a
about.
proposal to look at.
Yeah, I think you
Like,
need
give a proposal for, say, a township.
Yeah.
You know, take a township and try to see if you can figure out what's going on in any one township.
Probably sitting in the dark here. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind, there's some mistakes there. But is there enough warrant going back into it? I don't know. I don't know.
I think about it.
I mean, I could get some answers from this person, but I wasn't going to until I saw if he was gonna really, you know, be interested in it or not. I mean, it makes me no money one way or the other, but I hate to see county losing money, and I hate for somebody to come up to me and say, you guys are losing money big time. And I've been told that several times, and I thought, okay,
Well, whoever told you, can they point you in a direction that if someone took on where to start looking? I'm not asking for who it is.
the person that told me about it is the one that's contemplating whether they'd be interested in doing it or not. Oh, no, this is a long time before this ever came up. It's not a job that they're looking for. Because they said, oh, I don't know, it's a job.
Well,
But
they said we was losing a lot of money, Vicki. Did they tell you how much per year?
she said thousands of dollars,
How did they know this?
because they work out all the time.
You don't just
I see
have
it.
a factory immediately?
And they see it. It's just something I thought needed to be brought to your attention, and, you know, because
The big one is, the big one is catching it when they bring to the auditor's office, because especially if the people have prepared their own deeds or they brought their own deeds to recording. It's one thing when I go in there to have a deed stamped by the auditor and I say, gals, make sure you catch the mineral reservation here. But a lot of times that conversation doesn't happen. They come in with a deed to be stamped, they don't mention it, and if it's not real noticeable, the auditor's office is not gonna catch it, and there's that money lost right there. I mean, it might be a 500-acre farm where they reserve the oil and gas off of it, and that's a
Yeah,
pretty good.
it's,
you know,
it's the
That's a
thing
common-
that you've got to read the deed.
Yeah, that's a
I mean,
common loss
that's the
there.
thing, the deed's gotta be read for them
Yeah, it's,
to start catching them now.
So is that the auditor or is it the recorder?
it's auditor
the
really,
auditors
because
first.
they're the ones that gotta catch this additional taxation of the new tract being created for tax purposes. A separate tract, if there's a reservation. Or a conveyance. and then-
So if somebody bought a 500-acre farm, it did say in the deed or it says that the mineral rights have been reserved by
The
prior
grant.
owners,
By the
then there
grant.
needs to be 2 deeds generated, right?
No.
Needs to be
no.
2 parcels made.
If I sell to you my 100-acre farm and I reserve the mineral rights underneath it,
You're
at
gonna
that
pay-
time, a separate parcel of real estate for taxation purposes has been created. It's gotta be caught right then at the office. If not, then, I mean, the clock's ticking on them as far as the 20-year lapse of mineral, and the county's losing out on taxation. Tax monies.
But I bought
See, that
ground,
doesn't have anything to do
and
with,
other farmers had
you
to,
have to put it in that mineral book and.
in town to buy 5 acres in the
make 2
country.
entries.
and you buy it, maybe at an auction or something.
We have to create a
And
parcel for
it
that.
says right in
Yeah,
the
that
auction,
section.
when you're bidding, you know, you get what mineral rights they've got, if any.
Yeah.
They don't know whether they've got any.
That's
I
right.
think recent year.
And I mean, I
a lot
had
of
you
it's being
chase
bought. I
down
think it's
3 or 4 tracks of my property and get them all back for me. I mean,
Is that
I
20
got them
years?
clear, but I had to pay him to do it.
Yeah.
And I wanted on.
Is that 20-year?
Yeah.
So right now, it's a negative asset, because you're paying on getting it done. But it could be a positive someday.
So, but I mean, you don't know sometimes when you buy that property, because these people don't know. And when you buy it, you buy an unknown.
Right, can I tell you a story? I had a taxpayer come in, and there was 2 minerals in the tax sale. And I think this is what's created a lot of this. We've been putting minerals, unpaid taxes in the tax sale.
Right.
The landlord came in and thought they owned the minerals. So I took them back, it was an older couple, I took them back and I helped them, because they didn't know what to do. They said, we own this, we own the minerals. And I said, well, apparently not. So I went back and we searched back into the 50s, back in the 1950s, and I finally showed them where, when the land was bought, it was split. And I found the names. Well, what happened and what ended up happening was the owners of the minerals paid one but not the other. So they came to the tax sale and they bought part. Because I think the people who own the minerals don't realize that there's two tax statements, because there's 2 different parcels of land on that mineral.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, you just get instances like that and you know, I don't.
So
how
do we
you-
go back 3 years and collect from them when that happens?
Well, I mean, they hadn't paid up, they had to, when they sent in their payment, they had to pay it up to what it was, but they just paid one of them.
But I meant they went back 3 years and paid them.
They weren't out 3 years, they were only, this was a tax sale situation, and so they only had to catch up their taxes to current. And, you know, and then, and like HR says, a lot of times, a lot of that is, you know, in this instance, there was somebody taking care of it. It was sent to another address for somebody as a carer, maybe an
Carer.
accountant,
Oh, yeah.
or something like that. And I think in some instances, these people go out of business, a third party goes out, and then when they stop paying the taxes, the owner's thinking, whoever thinking they're being taken care of, they're not. So, I mean, you just have all kinds of scenarios of this that's going on that you know, it could be,
But lately, this
it could
tax
very
sale
be
was
involving.
was just a mineral rights, wasn't it? The tax
Mhm,
sale.
mhm. Yeah, they had the surface, but see, in turn, those people thought they owned the surface and the minerals, and they did not. And I helped them. I mean, we don't have to do that, but we do. We do when we can. But like I said, we had to go back I had to go back 4 or 5 books. We had to just keep searching and seeing when that switched, when that name goes, and we was back in the
Well, what makes you
50s.
sick when you own that, and these people got them underneath, and you could have had them picked up, like I had him do for me. And they come in here and decide, and even though it's past 20 years to start activity, and they come out there and dry those stakes, and they're gonna drill a hole, you got the top property, and they got the underneath, you can't stop them.
No.
And they start dragging heavy equipment across there and just really, that's the reason the public needs to be,
They have right to
Right.
access it.
yeah,
Well, and
they
this,
can go anywhere they want
in
across
case
that
of this scenario, these people
What
were
restrictions?
scared to death when they came in, because they
We
just
need to get-
realized that they
or
didn't know
somebody
something they
needs,
thought
maybe
they
not
owned, you
necessarily
know,
us, but I
so.
mean, they need to be educated if they own it, and they wanna be safe, they need to check on those minerals and make sure they've got them, or have an attorney get them for them.
Right.
This fracking started a lot of people that run into.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right.
So what restrictions do they have as far as like your barn or a house, that they have to stay away from
Come
those?
in, drill on our things. We-
Yeah, they gotta say so many feet, don't they, HR, away from the house.
Not too many.
The buildings, they don't,
I would say they don't
they
have,
come right up against my barns and pop a hole.
yeah, it's very
It's
pro.
not pretty when they
I
do it.
know.
We're a corporation state. Let me just say it that way.
A lot of
But
mineral
anyway,
rights
I
that
mean,
were
that's-
sold in the 20s for like $1.50, $2 an acre.
Yeah,
Oh, there's a lot of them.
but you know, it's a sad situation.
Well, it's working out, if you decide.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't work out, I suppose.
So, well, what you wanna do, gentlemen? You wanna do a random thing, or you wanna?
What can we do? What's our options?
I think that person maybe needs to come. I think, you know,
I mean,
kind of talk for you, say, I think you guys are interested, but I think. you-
I mean, that's what I was gonna say, if I feel like they're interested, I don't
I think
care.
so. I think so.
And what we could possibly be losing.
I think we use Central, is what we got.
Yeah. Have them come to us and bring us some more
Does
information.
Peabody send people in looking for mineral rights that haven't been paid, stuff like that?
They don't come in our office, because we don't have any record of that.
They got a guy here all the time looking at that stuff, I think.
I'd say there's a lot of people out there who don't, you know, if they've never got mineral statements, never paid the, don't know, and somebody's probably grabbing them out for money, I'd say.
Guys like HR, let's sit at home thinking.
You know, it's a pain, isn't it, HR?
Well, I mean, it's just, it's a tricky business.
It is.
Real tricky business.
Okay, I'll talk to her. I mean, I just wanted you to know what was going on, and
But the ones that have activity on them is the ones you really need, because them people making money off of it, not paying any taxes, either one, you know.
That and
They got their
me-
cake and eating it too.
That and I think ensuring that everything, you know, especially is for what you've got in there, make sure that they're assessed properly. And I've seen, probably the second one I see is when it gets down to fractional interests. I mean, a lot of times there's just mistakes made in the fractional interests. I mean.
So what happens, like when Peabody lined up the coal,
That is mine's right.
2 seems to go like they are now, or 3, and there's still mineral rights there, I'm looking at Jeff to tell you. How do they determine what to tax that at?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, I still think there's a coal assessment. They used to.
I mean, there's still more coal there. It's
That's right.
down
And
there.
I don't think they get a rebate based on it being, you know, for seams being removed. Now, years ago, I think they did that because the old transfer records going back, you know, at least up into the 30s and 40s, there would be notations worked out, vein 7, vein 6, or vein 5, worked out. But you see that disappear after the 40s. Of course,
So you either own them or don't own them.
that's right. And there's assessment.
They're either there or not there.
You know,
I mean,
and I
like
think.
Wayne may not have much coal, but he could have gas.
And I think the evidence of when the state is, or when the coal companies say, you know, we've got all we're ever gonna get, is when they turn it back to the state. When you see that becoming a duck hunting spot, I mean, that's their way of saying, we've got all we're gonna get.
Like they just done in the paper today, yesterday. Another 1,000 acres. That's where that's at.
We paid a little bit of tax, and now you can have it, no taxes
Did
at
they
all.
sell Pfizer's part of it, they're gonna turn it into ARC or something?
800 acres.
822 acres.
Where's that at?
The Pfizer's.
That's the one you're talking about, Rick's southwest corner down here.
South
Manny
Pleasantville?
Hall. Paper says southwest corner
I saw that.
of Manny Hall, which is wetlands now.
Yeah, we got some eagles down there.
That's what they're saying.
Thanks, Vicki.
you're welcome.
Talk to them. And
I will.
Ms. Wilson, you got something for us?
I'm not sure if I'm at the right place, but I'm sitting here taking this all in. I guess if you're appropriating money, maybe I am in the right place. I just wanted to ask, I've given a proposal to the 4-H board, fair board, and I've sent it to Alan Badger, and I tried to contact him today if it would be, they've approved what I wanted to do, and he said that the monies would have to be appropriated, I believe, by the county commissioners. Alan wasn't in today, so I wasn't sure whether this was the meeting to be. And I thought if this was brought up at this time, I'd be here to answer any questions that anyone would have.
Okay, so now what's it
And
for?
one, I have a group that we're wanting to landscape the front of the 4-H building. And we proposed that the men do some manual labor for us of getting a water line for us and some, you know, plant material and things of that nature across the front of the fairgrounds. It's the group is the Master Gardeners, and we're affiliated with Purdue.
Right.
And if we're gonna do anything in the county, the 4-H ground seems to be the appropriate place. I don't know, we're not nearly as large a group as what the Vigo County group is, because I'm thinking that they have, you probably saw it in the news just the past month where their gardens were raided at the fairgrounds. But I believe they've appropriated, oh gosh, it was like 35 to 40,000 pounds of food was given to charities of this, past growing season. So we're wanting to start small. Labor would be free, it would be all of us doing it. And I didn't know whether this is the place I need to
Well,
talk to, or.
the commissioners are over all grounds and buildings.
Okay.
And,
I was thinking once I got here and I realized it was the council that.
and I don't imagine they would have any problem with it,
Well, we've already done about 25 by 25 by 120 corner at the library for the past couple of years, and I've got proof that that we have been doing it, and that we are sincere, and we will give the time that it's necessary.
And what you're gonna need from us outside of, after you get through the commissioners, if they're wanting to run this water line or something, maybe transfer some money there
Yes.
to do that.
Yes.
And I don't think the council will have any problem with anything like that.
Have you
Well-
had trouble with people stealing out of the garden?
No.
Not really?
No.
I'm surprised.
No. I am quite proud of it.
Where are you
thought it
gonna
was a
put
good
it at,
idea.
over the whole next building?
Actually, all the way across the front of the original 4-H building.
Okay.
And this is what we've done at the, and it's on the back side of the library. In fact, we've done projects with kids, making stepping stones for the garden, and we've got other projects that
So
we.
you're just gonna do a beautification, you're not doing like a community garden?
No, not yet.
Yeah. So yours is beautification?
It is beautification, and it's just a matter of, that one picture is one season, and the other one's the second season, so we've done it for 2 years. And it's actually a butterfly garden, and about the first week of October, it was too bad that we couldn't just make people drive, or see it, because it was covered in butterflies. So it is successful, and as I say, it might be a matter that I'm talking out of turn, thank you, out of turn at this meeting, but I just thought that if indeed, because, and we're also thinking of things, to the Master Gardeners, and including 4-H members, of doing things during Fair Week, of beautifying the fairgrounds.
Right. Well,
During
you
the
got the
fair.
FFA, they're very active too.
Exactly, oh yes,
So you got a lot of labor
yes,
and
Jeff.
do the heavy work,
Yes.
those things.
And Jeff Miller and I have worked closely on other projects that I don't suffer in silence when I need manpower.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, thank you for your
Okay,
time.
okay, thank you for coming in. Sorry you waited for so long.
No, that's okay. Well, on the other hand, I kind of enjoyed being here to see how accurate the Sullivan Daily Times reports your meetings.
Oh, my.
Thank you.
Okay. Some of this stuff pile away here, we'll get started with some other stuff.
Gentlemen, we did find Laura did come back and she did find the agreement, our plan, I think.
Oh, she did?
Rick's
I'll look
looking
at
at it
it.
right now. It was under Eleanor, and that's why we didn't find it before, because we was never there.
Well, don't talk about her anymore. She did a fine job.
She did, and I told her she was a good
After hour and
girl.
everything.
She's a good one, that Laura is.
I'm kinda looking at what, for emergency
Look at
withdrawal.
the hardship, can't find it?
I know it was in there because when we first took it out. I know it was in there because when we first got it, we couldn't get
I
the
can
money
see
out.
distribution, once you become eligible and all that.
There was
See emergencies.
two sets of papers there, that's it, and then that one.
Okay.
It says right here, Mineral Carson plan withdrawal. at any time with re-entry only at the anniversary date after being withdrawn for 1 year. New employee at any time but mandatory after 1 year of employment. So that's participation.
So if you're gonna pay it quarterly, and they draw that first quarter, they're not gonna be able to draw their next 3.
County sheriff, variable at the discretion of the county council as funds are available. So the
You gotta lay
vested,
out a year.
Yeah.
they're only vested for 50% after 2 years, 100% after 5 years. So if they're drawing it out after every year, they're breaking the vesting rules. So you vest, if you have 2 years there, you can get out half of it. If you got 5 years, you can get out 100% of it. If you're an elected official, you can get it all out after 2 years.
This is all custodian.
So I think we're probably in violation of the plan. So it's got a 2-year minimum vesting, that's for 50. So if you work 2 years for the county, you can take out 50% of it.
For no reason,
Basically, if you leave.
if you leave.
But if you stay 5 years, you're fully vested. But if you're letting it take it out every year after you put it in there.
Is there
I think
anything in
you're in
there
violation.
about hardship though?
Did you see anything on hardship? I didn't see it.
No, but I'm pretty sure it's in here, because I remember.
And you got,
It may say to go to here, you know, to this, to revert.
what's that hardship say?
This one says unforeseeable emergencies define severe financial hardship, including damage to homeowner's insurance, like your own insurance doesn't cover it all, or so it could be example, medical expense, including non-refundable deductibles such as prescription drug medication may. But it's unforeseeable emergency. This is the boilerplate, one good for all, not for us, I mean for everybody.
You can pay for your funeral expenses if you need to. I didn't see anything in there about the retirement. I think the kicker is, when it says the vesting's 2 years and 4 years, then they didn't mean for you to be drawing that out every year.
Then a maximum 50% withdrawal, even at that.
So is that what we needed there?
That's a start.
But to start, that's all you got at this point.
I think we gotta come up with a new one that's so outdated.
Yeah, that's not complete.
They're out there.
Binding.
HR can find one for us. I'm sure. That'll be your task for the next month.
Okay.
Hey, did we ever get are the gas tickets from the sheriff drive money for a car now? Did they ever issue those new cars?
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, do you get the gas tickets broken down by car now?
I haven't.
Still just one big lump sum.
I can look at the docket and see what's been put in for this time.
Well, I think we're gonna turn over a new leaf January 1st. We need to have it. My personal opinion is send the sheriff a letter stating that in the future, January 1st, each car and each deputy will have an itemized list of his or her gasoline that they use, or anybody with that assigned vehicle from that jail, from the sheriff's department. You know, that'll include the sheriff, and if he's still got the jailer with a car.
He does.
You want them to have their own card?
They have
They
got,
have.
we had them sent to them. They have,
You got
the
it
sheriff
in
has
September.
got those cards. He's just not distributed them to these people. That we want to be able to track where the money's going for this gasoline. That's my suggestion.
Is that a motion?
I can make that motion.
Okay. One second.
Got a second here from Kenny. Any more discussion on that? We've talked this and kicked this around a long time. All in favor? Okay. So you type that up and send it, so they've got a month to get themselves adjusted to
I'll
this.
send you a copy before I send it and make sure it's worded to your approval.
Okay. Now,
we sure they got their cards.
what's that?
He assured us he'd give them the cards, right? Smith?
He said he
Ann
did.
they did. Somebody asked Ann, said she's,
Well, she said that when we asked her last time, he was gonna give it to her within a week or
oh,
two.
I thought she said that.
So I don't know.
I can call Mr. Smith and ask him, I suppose, if you want me to.
I think it's 239-3716 is his cell phone, he always answers.
Have a card or a key,
Well, they were supposed to have been issued in September.
but it was after mine.
That's right.
They get gas over City Hall.
Yeah,
that's
239-3716, that's the easiest way to get him on that cell phone.
That's Wesley stood out.
I'm sorry, please repeat, 239 what?
Not each
37
time, but
239-3716.
Okay, thank you.
not each fill up. When we take the readings or something.
I got you, that makes sense.
We got a transfer here. Salt Circuit Court, request the following, from account 3401, maintenance and repair 2,000 to account program maintenance and support 2,000. B.J. Pearson. I'll give them all to you, and if you want to pick one out, you can. There's only one more. Bess Walls has got an employee that's got medical problems and taking chemo treatments. And this person's got a lot of sick days built up that hasn't used. So she's gonna work, but she'll be sick and off a day or two during these treatments. I think she said I was up in her office today talking to her. She's gonna be taking them every 3 weeks, is that right? She takes 3
For
treatments.
6 months.
Yeah, for 6 months. So she wanted to transfer some money here to cover some part-time to cover this, for this girl. From her 21,000 fund in the amount of $758.83 to 3,200 in the amount of $893.08, and fund 3401 in the amount of $1,000 be moved to fund 11,900 extra hire is what she wants to do. And that's the only 2 transfers I've got.
Now, does she need this money for the rest of this year?
That's what she said.
So that she knows this, we're not
Not next month.
incoming,
That
it
is what-
falls out, it gets in the 31st.
I make a motion to approve these 2 transfers.
I think Jim beat you to it. Jim seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, I also have, well, we gotta sign these papers on the salary ordinance, right?
Yeah.
And she wants to
I'll make a motion, we approve the salary ordinance as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, now, have you got a different one, or you wanna use the one I got here to sign?
That's it. That's it.
That's the only one we got, huh?
Mhm.
How about that?
And that's the
Okay,
salary
before we,
ordinance for 2014.
all right, I'll sign it and start around, then I'll,
Did it record all of us? Record all of us at the time?
Brian, did you second that?
okay, I have in my hand here a check, and it's for $50,000 from the Sullivan County Ambulance Service for their part to pay us back for the ambulance we allowed them to buy. And that will go back into our rainy day fund money where it came from. And that will leave him approximately $102,000, expecting around 100, 105, I think, isn't that correct, to run a month? So he's got enough to finish, finish out here. So I'll give that to the,
And that's not the final payment.
No, it's the
No,
first payment
no,
of
no.
2.
No, that's the
First payment of 2.
yeah, that's the first payment, that's just what they promised us this year.
Guys, I've got to, sorry to interrupt, I gotta meet somebody at the office. on
That's
some-
fine.
on
You
some
got
business.
anything for us?
The only thing I wanted to bring up, I didn't know if you were gonna address tonight, because the only reason I remember this is because there was a deadline on it, or a time crunch with the sheriff's retirement thing.
I got it laying
Okay,
there.
all right, I didn't know if
They're
that's what
not
it
having
was.
the sheriff's department merit board meeting until January now.
Oh,
To make the changes that they said it's possibly gonna get.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Remember, it was supposed to be in like November 30th, so you had a few days after today, but I didn't know. I never see it.
I thought they said here it would be in January.
Well, they had to have it, they've got to get it in before January, but they gotta work on it once you get it back. Yeah, plan administrator. They need it by November 30th. Anyway, I bring that up because I remember that deadline that they asked for it back, plan administrator.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Have I missed anything here? You think of anything we missed?
I have a couple of things.
Sure.
Do you want to go?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. The bill that we received from the,
Mainly?
yes, from the construction technology in the amount of $28,519.67, which was for project manager, project assistant, redesign fees, and then for the 3% billing, that overall billing of the fourth room.
Did you not find, you found a little contract, didn't you, that they signed?
You know, I called them and asked them if they had a copy, because I did not find one in ARP, but it could be
It
like
could be
that, it
under
could be under
something.
something. Yeah. But anyway, all they sent me, and Ann got the same thing, because, was a proposed renovation, the proposal that you guys, that was presented in 2009.
Well,
Here's a copy of it.
my memory serves me right, I think Dwayne and I were here, I think the whole council was here, and the commissioner said, this is the bill we'll take care of. You take care of the funding of the building, and we'll take care of the engineering. You remember that, Larry?
No.
No? Kenny? Summer? And what's happened is we paid what, 18,000 already?
16,140.
And this is on top of that, right?
Yeah.
So the two together make about 44,000.
Right, there was a proposal, and it was in two phases. Phase one, and they built it out, that was the 16 that we received now.
I
This
mean,
is
the
phase
typical
two.
architect fees on a small project run between, they can't do legally anymore, we used to run between 7 and 10%. They're not allowed to do it that way anymore because.
I don't think these gentlemen were at our meeting. It was you and I and Tim Abrams and Judge Springer and Hanley. And I don't think Eric Murray was there. Yeah. And then he come to another meeting later when the rest was here, but he did tell us, you know, it won't exceed this much and that and everything
Right.
at that meeting. When we was talking, when he was giving us a ballpark figure.
Because at that time, the price was 300 something pounds.
Yeah, the whole project, yeah.
275 or whatever.
And the amounts on these bills have not exceeded. They have not exceeded. They are right to the penny of what they said. They would not go over.
So where's the
And
commissioner that wants to
well,
pay this from?
that's
What?
why I'm
But the
here. I don't
commissioner
know
that
where we're
was
gonna
here
get
that
this.
day did make the statement, if we could take care of the other part, they could take care of that, if nothing else, out of their courthouse.
And you asked me to go through the minutes, and I apologize. I just have not had time to dig into a book to try to find, you know, where this was all approved and everything, but I'll try to
I
before the
mean,
commissioners meeting.
What
where
did
they
John
know.
Elmore, did they not give it to him to do something with at their last meeting?
Well, John has a copy, I believe.
I mean, I got a call from, yeah,
Judge Springer.
no, I got a call from Judge Spring, but I also got a call from, Ken Bryan. He said, when he got to the meeting, he thought they'd give it to John to do something with. What do you know? Do you know anything about that?
No, I called John,
Okay.
okay, and, anyways, so I called John, and John told me just to hold on to it, and he would do his due diligence or whatever, I don't know. So I haven't heard from anybody, but I just was letting you know that I have the
Well,
bill.
it needs to be cleaned up, but, you know, I really don't think it's the council's to pick up this side of it. We picked up the lion's share of this whole project. And, you know, I think the commissioners they made the statement, and I know that commissioner is not on the commissioners at this time, but he said they could pick up that side of it. So, you know, I
I
think,
just
and they've
hate
got
that the bill
courthouse
came
money
after we
in
cleaned
next
up
year's
everything
budget,
else,
they got it
you
in
know?
this year's budget, I don't know how much they got left, if
Right.
any.
But on their behalf, none of them were, none of the commissioners then were commissioners.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, it's $28,000, right?
Yes, sir.
And we owe the
25.
money, there's no question, we owe the money.
We're gonna have to pay it, yeah.
I would make a motion that we split the bill with them like we did the other. We'll pay 14 out of our rainy day money and they could pay 14 out of the rent money.
Does that suit everybody else? Any more discussion on it? Let's get it cleaned up here, our part anyway. All in favor? Okay. But the next time we deal with this outfit, we're gonna have a signed contract with figures on it.
Well, I tried to call them and their numbers,
Let that be a lesson to us.
the number that's on their thing here is not correct or something, I don't know. But anyway, okay.
Just part of living and learning. And I thought we was gonna have a contract. I really did.
Well, at that meeting, he was gonna bring it back to the commissioners and they were gonna sign off and Tim said, we'll pick up the architect's fees, you
That's
pick
right.
up the construction cost. But then they quit talking to us.
And Bob remembered when he called me today about it, he said, he remembered us sitting in the meeting, and he said, I remember most of the conversation, but not all of it, he said, but I do remember you guys kinda wanted him to oversee the project, cause this was the biggest project as Eric Murray'd ever been, and make sure it was done correctly. And, he said he would do that, and we told him we'd like to have a contract. And he said he'd bring it back to the commissioners. And I don't think one ever come back to the commissioners apparently if she can't find it.
But within the scope of the work I've done, like that's within reason.
Yeah.
It's usually selling, and the Larry was selling at 10% for architect's fee. And state law doesn't allow you to do a percentage anymore, because they were designing stuff that cost more money, so they could make more money.
But regardless, we should have made sure we had a contract when we did the project. That's my fault. For what it's worth.
Not as good as the Purdue football team.
I have one more
We'll
item
talk about
of
that.
business.
Huh?
I have one more item of business.
Well, we still got this sheriff's thing. What are you gonna do, boys? You wanna sign it?
Okay.
Reluctantly, but they're not gonna have another merit board meeting till January. I think before we find another next year, then hopefully we'll make some changes to the plan.
So is that a motion?
No. Yeah, okay, my motion is that we'll sign it for this year, and we're expecting changes in the plan for next year.
Second by Kenny. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay,
So
anybody else got
when you
anything
give that-
besides Diane? She's got a whole armful.
Are you gonna give that to Brian, signed? Is that who you're giving that to?
I will.
Will you attach those minutes like that? I mean, a memo or?
Yes.
You put our letter for January first.
Okay.
Has both these got places, you want both these signed, or is two different?
Kenny, you second that one, didn't you?
Huh?
Did Kenny
Yeah.
second that one? I thought so.
There's two different